This is the 2024 deferred paper. It's paper 2, and it's question 5. It's a statistics and probability question. So in part A, we have to assume that the margin of error for a population proportion is 1 over root n, and n is the sample size. So they're giving us, so again, there's trigger words or trigger terms here to look out for in an exam, margin of error. So we're given the margin of error equals 1 over root n. Okay, so that's very straightforward, and we're told then that n is the sample size, and now in part I, the sample size is given to us as 1600. So this is very straightforward in part I. You just fill in 1600 for n. That's the sample size we're dealing with right now. The root of that is 40. 1 over 40 is 0.025. Give your answer as a percentage. All these details are important. So just rewrite that decimal as a percentage, multiply by 100, and you get 2.5%. Now, part 2 is the same question kind of backwards. So generally, if you look at the first one, you're given n, and you want to get the margin of error. Now you're given the margin of error, and you want to find n. It's the other way around. So we want to get exactly 1% margin of error. Now 1% as a decimal is 0.01. Margin of error is always given as a decimal in the formula. It's 1 over root n. And then it's just some algebra. Multiply across by root n. It goes above on this side, then this goes below on this side. So you get 0.01. 1 over 0.01 is just 100 on the calculator, and square both sides to get n, and you get n is 10,000. So we need a sample size of 10,000 to give a margin of error of 1%. Always no harm to do a common sense check as well. You would expect that the bigger your sample size, there's less error, it's more accurate basically. And that's what's happened. We started off with 1,600 people, we got an error of 2.5%. Now we're getting only 1%. It's a less of an error as you'd expect from a bigger sample. Next part. Lots of trigger words here to look out for in an exam question, in any exam question, and this is no different. They are independent events, A and B, and that's always a trigger in that word independent in these questions. It means a formula, which is not in the tables. You have to know this formula. For independent events, the probability of A intersection B is always the probability of A multiplied by the probability of B. And that's all that's required here. You're given those two probabilities, so you just multiply them according to the formula, and you get an answer of 0.06. Moving on, find the value of C union D. These are two other sets, union D. And again, that's a formula you just have to know. If you want C union D, you add the probability of C and D, and you subtract the intersection. This formula is easier than it looks basically. I always use an example to explain. For example, if you were counting all the sports people, if just say in school there's only hurling and football, for example, you want to count all the sports people, so that's C union D. We'll say hurling and football. That's union. You count all your hurlers, C. You count all your footballers. But you must subtract the people that are playing both sports, because otherwise you're counting them twice if they're on both lists. That's all it means really. Okay, so that's a formula that you have to know, not in the tables. And again, you have every single thing that you need here. You're given all of these up here. So 0.4, 0.5 minus the intersection 0.08, and you get an answer of 0.82. The next part is on conditional probability, and again you have to know this formula going into the exam because it is not in the tables. So this reads as the probability of E given that F has already happened. It's called on the condition that F has happened, so that's why it's called conditional probability. And there's a formula, and you either know it or you don't. You have to learn this formula, take this seriously and learn what you have to learn going into the exam. So E given F is always the intersection of E and F over the probability of F. It's always the probability of the second one, the one after the line, under the line here. And again, you're given these things in the question. E intersection F is X above the line. F is X plus 0.04. We're even given the answer here. It's a quarter. this side of the equation. So put it equal to a quarter. And now it's just cross multiply, or if you want to just multiply both sides, or whatever way you do it, just work out the algebra and you get x is 2/15. And that's the end of question 5, and we're now going on to question 6 in the next video.